Have you ever lain awake long after the house has gone quiet, feeling the weight of the day still pressing on your chest? Have you noticed how the body is tired, yet the mind keeps walking in circles? Have you wondered why surrender feels harder at night than during the day? It is late evening. The light has been switched off, but the room still holds warmth from the day. A ceiling fan turns slowly. Your phone rests face down on the bedside table. Your shoulders are tight without you realizing it. The jaw holds a small ache. Breath moves, but it feels shallow, as if it has forgotten its own depth. Nothing is wrong. Nothing has failed. This restlessness is not a personal weakness. In the language of Dharma, this is simply the mind finishing its unfinished business. Karma unwinding. Thoughts asking to be seen before they are allowed to sleep. Many people believe peace comes after everything is resolved. But the Buddha pointed to something gentler. Peace comes when we stop demanding resolution before rest. In Indian homes, night has always been sacred, a time when effort softens, when even the gods are said to listen more closely. This story is not here to fix you. It is here to sit beside you, like an elder who knows that tired hearts do not need advice. They need permission. Permission to put down the role of doer. Permission to loosen the grip of control. Permission to trust that life continues to hold itself, even while you sleep. As you listen, you do not need to concentrate. You do not need to remember anything. Let the words arrive and leave like a slow river under moonlight. Tonight, we walk gently toward rest, not by force, but by understanding. And we begin exactly where surrender has always lived, inside the breath. The first teaching, non-self. Stop taking everything personally. It is close to midnight. The house is quiet except for a distant sound of a dog barking, then silence again. You turn slightly on the bed. The pillow is cool on one side, warm on the other. Earlier today, someone spoke in a way that stayed with you. A comment that felt sharp, a look that felt dismissive, a silence that felt heavier than words. Now the body remembers. The chest tightens a little. The stomach holds a dull weight. The mind replays the moment again and again, changing the words, fixing the tone, imagining better outcomes. This is where the knot forms. The mind says, "Why did they say that to me? What does it mean about me? What did I do wrong?" Not because you are weak, not because you are overly sensitive, but because the mind has been trained, since childhood, to protect a fragile sense of self. In Dharma, the Buddha spoke gently about this. He pointed to anatta, often translated as non-self, not as a philosophy to debate, but as a relief to be felt. Anatta means this simple thing. There is no solid, fixed you that needs defending every moment. What was spoken today did not land on a solid object. It landed on a moving process. Thoughts, sensations, memories, habits, all flowing. When someone reacts, it feels personal, but their words arise from their own causes, their fatigue, their fear, their conditioning, their unfinished stories, just as your reactions arise from yours. Let me tell you about a man named Arjun. Arjun worked in a busy office in Bengaluru. He carried responsibility seriously. He believed doing his duty well would protect him from criticism. One evening, after a long day, his manager made a passing remark. This could have been done better. The words were ordinary, but Arjun's body reacted as if struck. His chest burned. His mind spiraled. That night, sleep would not come. His thoughts said, "I am not good enough. I am failing. I am seen." Days later, Arjun attended a small evening talk at a local meditation center. Nothing dramatic, just a monk speaking softly. The monk said, "When a drum is beaten, which part makes the sound? The skin, the stick, the air?" Or the listener Arjun felt something shift. He began to notice that his suffering did not come from the comment itself. It came from the story his mind built around a solid self being judged. He practiced a simple reflection. This reaction is happening, but it is not who I am. Slowly, the grip loosened. The same manager spoke again in later weeks. Sometimes praise, sometimes critique. But Arjun slept better. Not because the world changed, but because the weight of taking everything personally began to fall away. Now, if you are able, let us practice together. If you are lying down, allow the body to sink into the bed. If you are sitting, let the spine be upright but soft. If you are listening while resting, there is nothing you need to do. Let the shoulders drop. Unclench the jaw. Allow the tongue to rest gently in the mouth. Bring one hand to the chest or the belly. Breathe in through the nose for a slow count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale gently for a longer count. Let the breath leave without effort. Again. Inhale. 4. Exhale. Longer. Notice the body responding. The nervous system recognizing safety. Now, bring to mind something that felt personal today. Just lightly. Do not dive into it. Notice where it lives in the body. Chest, throat, stomach. Ask one quiet question. Is this sensation proof of who I am? Or is it simply a passing experience? No answer is required. Just space. As you exhale, imagine loosening the idea of a solid self that must be protected, like hands slowly unclenching. Silently offer yourself this phrase. This is not about me. This is just a moment passing. Stay with the breath for one more cycle. The Buddha never asked us to become numb. He invited us to become free. When you stop taking everything personally, the heart does not harden. It softens. Because there is less to defend, less to prove, less to carry into the night. And as this understanding settles, something gentle happens. The body feels a little heavier. The mind a little quieter. In the next teaching, we will explore how kindness can exist without surrendering yourself. A way of staying soft without disappearing. For now, rest here. Nothing more is needed. The second teaching, loving kindness. Softening without submitting. It is early morning. The sky is pale, neither night nor fully day. You are standing near a window or sitting on the edge of the bed. The world has not yet begun to ask anything of you, and yet, inside, there is already a tightening. Perhaps you are thinking of someone difficult, a family member whose words carry pressure, a colleague whose presence makes the body brace, a relationship where love feels mixed with fear and obligation. The shoulders lift slightly, the breath shortens. There is an instinct to protect by closing. This is where many people misunderstand kindness. The mind believes there are only two choices, to harden and push away, or to soften and be hurt again. So we oscillate, one day distant, another day overgiving, always tired. The Buddha offered a third way. He taught Metta, loving kindness, not as emotional warmth, not as being agreeable, but as a steady inner posture that protects the heart without armoring it. Metta is not submission. It is not saying yes when the body says no. It is not tolerating harm in the name of spirituality. Metta is strength without aggression. In the Dharma, loving kindness begins inward, not because the self is more important, but because a heart at war with itself cannot offer peace to anyone else. Let me tell you about Meera. Meera lived in a joint family home. 3 generations, shared meals, shared expectations. She cared deeply for everyone, and she was exhausted. There was always advice, always correction disguised as concern, always comparison with someone else. Meera smiled outwardly. Inside, her chest felt tight, her sleep was shallow, her patience thinning. She believed being kind meant enduring everything silently. This is what she had been taught. One evening, after an especially heavy day, she sat alone on the terrace. The city hummed below. A warm breeze moved across her face. She felt something honest arise. I cannot keep living like this. Not anger, not blame, just truth. Later, she learned about Metta from a quiet teacher. The teacher said something simple. Loving kindness is not how you treat others. It is how you relate to your own experience first. Meera began a small practice. Nothing dramatic. Each morning before speaking to anyone, she sat for a few minutes. She placed one hand on her chest. She breathed naturally. And she offered herself kindness. Not excuses, not justification, just goodwill. May I be safe? May I be at ease? May I honor my limits? At first, it felt unfamiliar, almost selfish. But slowly, something changed. When comments came, her body no longer collapsed inward. She listened without shrinking. She began responding with fewer words, clear words, calm words. Her kindness became steadier, less performative, more rooted. Some people were confused. Some tested her boundaries. But Meera felt something new, respect for herself. This is Metta. It does not erase difficulty. It changes how difficulty moves through you. Now, let us practice together. If you are lying down, let the body be supported fully by the bed. If you are sitting, allow the spine to be upright, but relaxed. Soften the muscles of the face. Let the forehead smooth. Let the eyes rest easily in their sockets. Bring attention to the breath. Do not control it yet. Just notice. Now begin the rhythm. Inhale gently through the nose for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through the nose or mouth for a count of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 again. Inhale 4. Exhale 6. Feel the body settling. Now, bring one hand to the heart area. If that feels uncomfortable, place it on the belly. Silently offer these phrases to yourself, not as demands, as wishes. May I be safe, may I be peaceful, may I be free from inner harm. Let the words land where they land. If resistance arises, that is okay. That too receives kindness. Now, gently bring to mind someone you care about, someone whose presence feels easy. Offer the same wishes. May you be safe, may you be peaceful, may you be free from suffering. Notice how the body responds. Now, if it feels possible, bring to mind someone mildly difficult, not the most painful, just someone who challenges you. You are not approving their behavior. You are not moving closer. You are simply recognizing shared humanity. Offer one phrase, only one. May you be free from the suffering that causes harm. Return attention to the breath. One more inhale, one more long exhale. Metta teaches the heart to remain open without being invaded. It allows you to say no without hatred, to step back without cruelty, to remain human without self-betrayal. In Indian wisdom, this is aligned with dharma, right relationship, not excessive sacrifice, not cold withdrawal, just balance. When kindness begins within, it naturally expresses itself as clarity. And clarity is the deepest form of compassion. As this settles, you may notice the body feels heavier, the mind less argumentative. That is enough for now. In the next teaching, we will return to the breath itself, not as a technique, but as a home you can always return to. The third teaching, mindfulness of breathing. Returning home. It is late at night again. The lights are off. The world outside has softened into distant sounds. You are lying still, yet inside there is movement. Thoughts drift in without asking. Fragments of conversation, images from the day, concerns about tomorrow. The body wants rest. The mind keeps walking. You may notice the breath is shallow now, high in the chest, almost polite, as if it does not want to disturb anything. This is a familiar moment. Many people believe they cannot sleep because they think too much. But the Buddha saw something deeper. The mind does not settle because it has lost its home. When awareness leaves the body, it wanders. When it wanders, it worries. So the Buddha offered something very simple. Not philosophy, not belief. He offered the breath. He called it mindfulness of breathing, anapanasati. Not as a technique to control the mind, but as a way of returning to what is already here. The breath is always happening. Even when you are tired, even when you are confused, even when you feel far from peace, you do not have to create it. You only have to remember it. Let me tell you about Ravi. Ravi lived alone in a small apartment in Pune. He worked long hours. His days were full. His nights were restless. Every night, as soon as he lay down, his thoughts began. What if I made the wrong choice? What if I disappoint someone? What if something goes wrong? His body was exhausted. His mind refused to stop guarding the future. One evening, after many sleepless nights, Ravi visited his old uncle, a quiet man who woke early and slept easily. Ravi asked him, "How do you rest so deeply?" His uncle smiled. "I come back to where I already am," he explained, nothing more. Later, Ravi learned this same wisdom through the Buddha's teaching. The breath is where you already are. When the mind goes into the future, the breath stays in the present. When the mind revisits the past, the breath remains here. The breath does not argue. It does not analyze. It simply moves. Ravi began with something small. Each night, he placed one hand on his belly, not to force anything, just to feel. At first, nothing dramatic happened. Thoughts still came, but something subtle changed. Instead of following every thought, he followed one breath, then another. The mind did not become silent, but it became less sticky. Some nights he slept, some nights he did not, but he stopped fighting the night. This is an important shift. Mindfulness of breathing is not about success. It is about relationship. You are no longer trying to make the mind behave. You are giving it something steady to rest on. Now, let us practice together. If you are lying down, allow the body to fully meet the bed. Let the weight of the legs drop. Let the arms rest where they are comfortable. If you are sitting, let the spine be upright but not rigid. Imagine the body being held from below. Soften the forehead. Let the space behind the eyes widen. Bring attention to the breath without changing it. Just notice where you feel it most clearly. Nostrils, chest, belly. There is no correct place. Now begin to gently guide the rhythm. Inhale through the nose for a slow count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale slowly for a count of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let the exhale be effortless, as if the body is sighing on its own. Again. Inhale 4. Exhale 8. Notice how the nervous system responds. The shoulders soften. The jaw loosens. The heartbeat slows slightly. This longer exhale tells the body it is safe. If thoughts arise, do not push them away. Do not follow them either. Treat them like distant sounds outside the window. They exist. They do not require response. Each time you notice the mind drifting, gently come back to the next exhale. Now bring attention to the space just below the navel, the rise and fall of the belly. Feel the breath arriving. Feel the breath leaving. Nothing else is required. Ask one quiet question inside. What would it be like to rest without solving anything tonight? Stay with that question for one breath. No answer is needed. On the next exhale, imagine the body sinking a little deeper into the bed, as if the ground is receiving you. Silently offer this phrase, "I am allowed to rest." Again, "I am allowed to rest." In the Dharma, rest is not laziness. It is wisdom. The body knows how to heal when it is not being pushed. The mind knows how to settle when it is not being chased. Mindfulness of breathing is called returning home because it brings you back from everywhere else. Back from tomorrow. Back from yesterday. Back from imagined conversations. Home is not a place. It is this moment of breathing. Ravi noticed something over time. The breath became a companion, not just at night, but during the day, before difficult meetings, before difficult conversations. Each time, one slow exhale, he did not become fearless. He became grounded. This is the quiet power of the breath. In Indian spiritual language, this is surrender. Not giving up, but giving back. Giving the future back to life. Giving the past back to memory. Keeping only this breath. If sleep comes now, let it come. If it does not, let rest still be happening. The body resting, the breath flowing, the mind loosening its grip. That is already enough. In the next teaching, we will explore how pausing before words can change the entire direction of a moment. A teaching on speech and the sacred space before reaction. For now, stay with the breath. Stay home. The fourth teaching, right speech. Pausing before reacting. It is late afternoon. The light is slanting through the window. You are tired, but still holding the day together. A message arrives, or a comment is spoken casually. The words are simple, but the tone lands sharply. Before you decide anything, the body reacts. The jaw tightens. Heat rises in the chest. The breath becomes quick and shallow. Inside, a sentence forms. Then another. Clear, sharp, perfectly designed to defend or strike back. This moment is familiar. Most harm in human relationships does not come from cruelty. It comes from speed. The Buddha understood this deeply. That is why he taught right speech. Not as moral control, but as protection for the heart. Right speech is not about saying the correct thing. It is about knowing when not to speak yet. Between what is said to you and what you say back, there is a small space. That space decides everything. In that space, you either react or you choose. Let me tell you about Neha. Neha lived with her parents and younger brother. She balanced work, family duty, and expectations quietly. One evening at dinner, a comment was made. It was not loud. It was not dramatic. Just a comparison. Someone else's success mentioned casually. Something inside Neha snapped. Words rushed to her tongue. Years of swallowed frustration, ready to explode. She felt her hands shaking under the table, her breath short and hot. She wanted to speak. No. She wanted to release. That night, Neha could not sleep. She replayed the scene again and again. Both the words she did not say, and the ones she wished she had said better. Later, during a quiet retreat, she heard a teaching. The teacher said, "Speech that comes from heat carries heat forward. Silence at the right moment is not weakness. It is wisdom waiting to speak later." Neha realized something painful and freeing. She did not regret staying silent. She regretted not knowing how to pause with kindness inside herself. Right speech begins before words. It begins with awareness of the body. The Buddha taught that speech rooted in mindfulness does not harm, not because it is polite, but because it is not fueled by reactivity. Words spoken from anger may feel powerful, but they always cost more than they give. Words withheld with awareness create space. This does not mean never speaking. It means speaking from steadiness. Now let us practice together. If you are lying down, allow the body to rest fully. If you are sitting, let the spine rise naturally, not stiff. Bring attention to the body. Notice any lingering tension, jaw, shoulders, hands. Let them soften slightly. This practice is simple and very powerful. The next time you feel the urge to respond immediately, you will take 3 slow breaths. Let us rehearse now. Breathe in slowly through the nose. Feel the air enter. Breathe out slowly, longer than the inhale. Again. Inhale. Exhale. A third time. Inhale. Exhale. These 3 breaths are not delay. They are protection. They allow the nervous system to shift from attack to awareness. Now imagine a recent moment when you wanted to speak quickly. Do not replay the story. Just feel the bodily urge. Notice how the body wants release. Stay with the breath. Ask one quiet question inside. If I speak from this state, will it bring peace or more fire? No answer needed. Just notice. On the next exhale, imagine the heat in the chest cooling slightly, like embers settling. Silently offer this phrase: I choose response, not reaction again. I choose response, not reaction. Right speech does not silence truth. It waits for the right soil. In Indian spiritual language, this is tapas. Not harsh austerity, but inner discipline that preserves energy. Neha began practicing this in daily life. At first, she failed often. She reacted. She apologized. But slowly, the pause grew. 3 breaths before responding to messages. 3 breaths before replying to comments. Something changed. Her words became fewer, but clearer. When she spoke, people listened. Not because she was louder, but because she was grounded. Some conversations ended sooner. Some conflicts dissolved without words. Right speech reduced unnecessary suffering. The Buddha taught that speech should be truthful, timely, and spoken with goodwill. But before all of that, it must be rooted in awareness. Without awareness, even truth wounds. With awareness, even silence teaches. If you feel tired tonight, remember this. You do not need to resolve every conversation. You do not need to have the last word. Some peace is created by not adding another sentence. As the body rests now, let the tongue rest too. Let the urge to explain soften. Tomorrow, words can come. Tonight, silence can heal. In the next teaching, we will explore action itself, how choosing self-respect is part of the path. For now, let the body settle. Let the breath slow. Nothing needs to be said. The 5th teaching. Right action. Choosing self-respect. It is early evening. The day is ending, but you are still carrying it in your body. You stand in the kitchen or sit on the edge of the bed. Shoes still on. Bag not yet put away. Someone has asked something of you. Perhaps kindly. Perhaps indirectly. And even before the words fully land, the answer has already formed inside you. Yes. Your body says no, but the mouth prepares to say yes. The shoulders tighten. The breath shortens. A familiar heaviness settles in the chest. This is not generosity. This is erosion. Many people confuse right action with good behavior. They believe the path of Dharma requires endless giving, endless patience, endless accommodation. The Buddha never taught this. He taught right action. Action aligned with wisdom. Action that reduces suffering, not multiplies it quietly. Right action is not about pleasing others. It is about not abandoning yourself. When you repeatedly act against your own inner truth, something breaks slowly, not loudly, quietly. Resentment grows. Fatigue deepens. Kindness becomes performative. Let me tell you about Suresh. Suresh was known as dependable, the one who never refused, the one who handled problems. At work, he stayed late. At home, he absorbed responsibilities without complaint. In friendships, he listened endlessly. People trusted him, praised him, and Suresh felt empty. At night, his body ached. His sleep was shallow. His patience thin. He believed this was the price of being good. One day, while waiting at a clinic for persistent back pain, he overheard an old man speaking to a younger one. The old man said, "If you keep bending, do not be surprised when you cannot stand." The words stayed with Suresh. Later, he encountered the Buddha's teaching on right action. It spoke of action that does not harm self or others. Suresh had never considered that harming himself counted. This was the turning point. Right action asks a quiet but radical question. What action respects life, including the life that is you? Not what action avoids conflict, not what action maintains image, but what action aligns with truth. In Indian wisdom, this is dharma, not blind duty, right duty. Dharma changes with context, with capacity, with season. What was right once may not be right now. Suresh began noticing his body before answering requests. If the chest tightened sharply, he paused. If the stomach dropped, he paused. At first, this pause felt terrifying. If I say no, will I be rejected? If I step back, will I be seen as selfish? These fears are old, rooted in survival. But the Buddha taught that fear does not disappear by obedience. It dissolves through clarity. Suresh practiced small acts of right action, leaving work on time once a week, declining a favor without explanation, resting without apology. Each act felt uncomfortable and then relieving. Some people resisted, some adjusted. What mattered was this: Suresh felt himself returning. Right action does not always feel good immediately, but it feels clean. There is less inner conflict, less self-betrayal. Now let us practice together. If you're lying down, allow the body to settle. If you're sitting, let the spine be supported, not rigid. Bring awareness to the body. Notice where tension gathers when you imagine saying no. Throat, chest, stomach. Do not push it away. Just notice. Begin the breath. Inhale gently through the nose for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for a count of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 again. Feel the body responding. Now bring to mind one situation where you act against yourself. Just one. Not the hardest. Notice the habitual action. Notice the cost. Ask one quiet question. What action here would respect my life? Stay with the question for one breath. On the exhale, imagine standing upright inside, not rigid, grounded. Silently offer this phrase: I choose self-respect without cruelty. Again, I choose self-respect without cruelty. Right action is not aggressive. It does not require confrontation. Sometimes, it is simply not showing up where you are depleted. Sometimes, it is resting. Sometimes, it is walking away quietly. The Buddha walked away often. From arguments, from demands, from places where wisdom could not land. This was not avoidance. It was discernment. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks of action without attachment. Action aligned with inner truth, not driven by fear of outcome. This does not mean indifference. It means integrity. When your actions align with your values, the mind rests more easily. The body softens. Sleep deepens. Suresh noticed something unexpected. When he respected himself, his generosity became genuine again. He helped when he truly could. He listened when he had space. His no made his yes trustworthy. This is right action. Choosing not to harm yourself in the name of goodness. As the night settles, let this teaching sink into the body. You are allowed to act in ways that sustain you. You are allowed to choose rest. You are allowed to choose clarity. This is not selfishness. It is wisdom. In the next teaching, we will explore equanimity, how to remain steady when life does not cooperate. For now, let the body rest with this truth. You do not have to earn peace by exhaustion. Peace arises when action and truth walk together. The sixth teaching, equanimity. Staying steady in storms. It is midday. The sun is high, unforgiving. The street outside is loud with movement and urgency. Inside, you are trying to stay balanced. Perhaps the morning did not go as planned. A delay, a misunderstanding, news that unsettled you. The body feels alert in a way that is not calm. The mind keeps scanning. What next? What if? How do I hold this? Equanimity begins here. Not when life is smooth, but when it is uneven. Many people believe peace means nothing disturbing ever happens. The Buddha taught something far more realistic. Peace is the ability to remain present even when conditions are unstable. He called this upekkha, equanimity. Not indifference, not cold distance, but inner steadiness. Like a mountain that does not argue with the weather. Storms pass. Heat comes, cold arrives, the mountain remains. Equanimity does not stop pain. It stops panic from taking over pain. Let me tell you about Anil. Anil was a school teacher in a small town. He cared deeply about his students. He took pride in doing his work well. But life tested him repeatedly. A promotion he was promised went to someone else. A family issue required his attention when he least had energy. Criticism arrived from unexpected places. Anil felt himself becoming brittle. He reacted quickly, defended himself, withdrew. At night, his thoughts were restless, his chest tight. One evening, after a particularly difficult day, he sat quietly in the school courtyard after everyone had left. The sun was setting. Children's laughter had faded into memory. He noticed a neem tree near the gate. Dust blew against it. Heat pressed down. A stray dog slept at its roots. The tree did not respond. It simply stood. This image stayed with Anil. Later, he encountered the Buddha's teaching on equanimity. The teacher explained it simply. You do not need to like what happens. You do not need to approve. You only need to stop letting it shake your center. Equanimity is the wisdom of allowing without collapsing. Anil began practicing this not by forcing calm, but by noticing when he was tipping into reactivity. When praise came, he noticed the lift. When criticism came, he noticed the drop. Instead of chasing the lift or resisting the drop, he practiced staying in the middle. This was not easy. The mind wants preference. It wants comfort. It wants certainty. But life does not always offer these. Equanimity meets life as it is. Now let us practice together. If you are lying down, let the body feel the support beneath it. If you are sitting, feel the weight of the body grounding downward. Notice the breath without changing it yet. Notice the rise. Notice the fall. Now gently lengthen the exhale. Let it be longer than the inhale. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out more slowly. Again, this longer exhale tells the nervous system you are not in immediate danger. Now bring to mind something unsettled in your life. Not the most painful, just something unresolved. Notice what the body does. Does it lean forward, brace, tighten? Do not try to fix anything. Just notice. Ask one quiet question. Can I allow this moment without needing it to be different? Stay with that question for one breath. On the exhale, imagine your body becoming heavier, more grounded. Silently offer this phrase, I remain steady. Again, I remain steady. Equanimity does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop being thrown around by every wave. In Indian spiritual understanding, this is often called balance of the gunas. Not clinging to pleasure, not resisting discomfort, just presence. Anil noticed that when he practiced equanimity, his reactions softened. He still spoke when needed. He still acted, but his actions were less charged. When things went well, he enjoyed them without grasping. When things went poorly, he felt disappointment without drowning. This steadiness changed how others experienced him. Students felt safer. Colleagues felt less tension. Not because he was passive, but because he was not volatile. Equanimity protects energy. Without it, the mind swings constantly. Hope to fear, approval to rejection. With equanimity, there is space between events and identity. What happens is not who you are. This teaching is especially important at night, when the mind reviews the day, replays conversations, judges outcomes. Equanimity allows you to say, this happened, and now I rest. Not because everything is resolved, but because rest is needed. As you lie here now, notice the weight of the body. Notice the breath continuing on its own. Life is moving, even without your effort. Equanimity trusts this. It trusts that you do not need to control every moment to be safe. In the Buddha's path, equanimity is considered one of the highest states of heart, not because it is detached, but because it is free from fear-driven clinging. Anil once described his experience simply: life still challenges me, but it no longer owns me. This is the gift of equanimity. You become weather-aware, not weather-dependent. As this teaching settles, you may feel a quiet heaviness in the body, a good heaviness, the kind that leads towards sleep. In the next teaching, we will explore the two arrows, how pain becomes suffering and how suffering can gently end. For now, let yourself rest in steadiness. Nothing to fix, nothing to chase, just this moment. The seventh teaching, the two arrows ending secondary suffering. It is night again. The house is quiet, but the body remembers the day. Perhaps something painful happened, a sharp word, a disappointment, a sudden worry that arrived without warning. Pain came. That was the first arrow. You felt it in the chest, a tightening, a drop in the stomach, a heat behind the eyes. This first arrow is unavoidable. The Buddha never promised a life without pain. Bodies ache, words wound, plans unravel. This is part of being human. But then something else happens. The mind begins to speak. Why does this always happen to me? I should have known better. This means something is wrong. What if it never gets better? These thoughts land like a second arrow. The Buddha spoke of this clearly. Pain is the first arrow. Suffering is the second. The first arrow arrives from life. The second is fired by the mind. And unlike the first, the second is optional. Let me tell you about Kavita. Kavita was caring for her aging mother. She loved her deeply. She was also exhausted. One evening, her mother spoke harshly, unfairly, accusing Kavita of neglect. The words pierced. Kavita felt them immediately. That was the first arrow. But then the second arrow came fast. I am a bad daughter. No matter what I do, it is not enough. I am trapped. I will never be free. Her chest tightened further. Her breath shortened. Sleep disappeared. Kavita lay awake replaying the moment, each replay adding another layer of suffering. Days later, she heard a teaching on the two arrows. The teacher said, pain visits everyone. Suffering is pain multiplied by resistance. This stopped Kavita. She realized something important. Her mother's words were painful, but the story she told herself afterward was far more damaging. The Buddha taught that the mind tries to protect itself by explaining pain, by personalizing it, by predicting more of it. But this protection backfires. Instead of safety, it creates exhaustion. Kavita began practicing something new. When pain arose, she named it quietly. This is the first arrow. She did not argue with it. She did not justify it. She simply acknowledged it. Then, when the mind began its familiar spiral, she noticed that too. This is the second arrow. Just noticing created space. She was no longer fully inside the story. She was witnessing it. This changed everything. Now let us practice together. If you are lying down, allow the body to be heavy. Let the bed carry you. If you are sitting, feel the support beneath you. Bring attention to the breath. Inhale gently through the nose. Exhale slowly. Again. Now bring to mind something that has been painful recently. Not the most overwhelming, just something real. Notice the raw sensation. Where does it live in the body? Chest, throat, stomach. This is the first arrow. There is no need to fix it. No need to push it away. Just acknowledge. Now notice what the mind adds. The commentary, the judgments, the fears. This is the second arrow. Ask one quiet question. Is this thought helping me right now? No answer is needed. Just notice. On the next exhale, imagine gently setting the second arrow down. Not throwing it away, just not holding it. Silently offer this phrase. I allow the first arrow, I release the second again. I allow the first arrow, I release the second. The Buddha did not ask us to deny pain. He asked us to stop wounding ourselves further. In Indian spiritual understanding, this is viveka, discernment. knowing the difference between what is happening and what the mind adds. Kavita practiced this daily. When exhaustion came, she rested instead of blaming herself. When guilt arose, she softened instead of attacking herself. Her situation did not magically change. Her mother still had difficult days, but Kavita slept better. She carried less unnecessary weight. This is how suffering ends, not by eliminating pain, but by meeting it cleanly. At night, this teaching is especially powerful. The body is tired. The mind wants closure. But closure does not come from thinking more. It comes from not adding another arrow. As you lie here now, notice the breath. Notice the body. If discomfort is present, let it be the first arrow only. Do not rehearse the story. Do not predict the future. Just feel. This is enough. In the next teaching, we will explore noble silence, the wisdom of not responding, and how silence can protect peace. For now, let the arrows rest. Let the body rest. You have already done enough. The eighth teaching, noble silence. When not responding is wisdom, it is evening. The sky has darkened, but the mind is still bright with unfinished conversations. Perhaps someone spoke earlier today, a remark that lingered, a message that demanded a reply. Even now, the body rehearses what you could say, what you should say, what would finally make things clear. The jaw tightens slightly. The tongue presses against the roof of the mouth. Words line up, waiting to be released. This is the moment noble silence appears, not as absence, but as presence without speech. The Buddha spoke of noble silence as a form of wisdom, not silence born of fear, not silence used to punish, but silence that comes from clarity. Most suffering in relationships is not caused by what is said. It is caused by what is said too soon. When the heart is still agitated, speech carries agitation forward. Noble silence protects what is tender inside you. It creates space. Let me tell you about Rohan. Rohan was articulate, quick-minded, always ready with words. In meetings, he explained himself thoroughly. In family conversations, he defended his choices passionately. He believed silence meant losing. But inside, he was tired. Every explanation felt like effort. Every defense felt like a small war. At night, his mind replayed conversations. He wondered why being understood felt so exhausting. One day, after a tense discussion with a relative, Rohan visited a monastery outside the city, not for answers, just to sit. During the evening talk, the monk spoke very little. Long pauses, few words. Someone asked a difficult question. The monk smiled gently and remained silent. The silence stretched. No one felt dismissed. No one felt ignored. Something softened in the room. Later, the monk said quietly, "Some questions dissolve when not answered immediately." This stayed with Rohan. He began to observe how often he spoke to relieve his own discomfort, not to clarify, not to help, but to escape the unease of being misunderstood. The Buddha understood this impulse. The mind believes speech will restore control, but often, silence restores balance. Noble silence does not mean suppressing truth. It means waiting until truth can be spoken without heat. Silence allows emotions to settle. It allows perspective to return. In Indian spiritual tradition, silence has always been sacred. Mauna, not emptiness, but restraint, filled with awareness. Silence is not passive. It is active listening. Rohan began experimenting with noble silence in small ways. When messages arrived that stirred irritation, he did not respond immediately. He breathed. He waited. At first, the urge to reply was intense. His fingers twitched. But after a few minutes, something surprising happened. The urgency faded. Some messages no longer required response. Some situations resolved themselves. When he did speak later, his words were fewer, clearer. People listened differently. Noble silence changed the texture of his life. Now let us practice together. If you are lying down, allow the body to rest fully. If you're sitting, let the spine be upright and relaxed. Notice the mouth. Let the tongue soften. Let the lips part slightly. This signals the body that it does not need to prepare speech. Bring attention to the breath. Inhale gently through the nose. Exhale slowly. Again. Now bring to mind a recent situation where you felt the urge to respond. Not the most charged, just one that lingers. Notice what happens in the body. Tightness, pressure, heat. Do not replay the words. Just feel the impulse. Ask one quiet question. If I do not respond right now, what actually happens? Stay with the question for one breath. On the exhale, imagine the words dissolving before reaching the mouth. Like mist in sunlight, silently offer this phrase. Silence can protect my peace again. Silence can protect my peace. The Buddha taught that silence chosen with awareness is never empty. It is full of discernment. Noble silence does not mean never speaking. It means speaking only when speech will reduce suffering. Sometimes the wisest response is no response. This is especially true when emotions are high. Silence gives time for the nervous system to settle. It gives time for clarity to return. In Dharma, timing is everything. Right words spoken at the wrong time become wrong speech. Rohan noticed another change. When he stopped explaining himself constantly, he felt lighter. He realized not everyone needed to understand him. Some relationships deepened, some loosened. This was not loss. It was alignment. Noble silence also teaches boundaries without confrontation. You do not have to engage every invitation to conflict. You do not have to respond to every provocation. Silence can be a compassionate no. At night, this teaching is especially powerful. The mind wants to settle accounts, finish conversations, have the last word. But rest does not come from winning. It comes from letting go. As you lie here now, notice the quiet around you. Even if sounds are present, notice the space between them. That space is silence. Let your inner world mirror that space. You do not need to resolve everything before sleeping. You do not need to respond to thoughts. You can let them pass in silence. This is noble silence within. The Buddha himself often responded to questions with silence. Not to confuse, but to point beyond words. Some truths are felt, not explained. As this teaching settles, you may notice a gentle slowing, the breath deepening, the body sinking. Silence is not emptiness, it is rest. In the next teaching, we will explore clear seeing, how to recognize projection and meet others without confusion. For now, let silence hold you. Nothing needs to be said. The ninth teaching, clear seeing, recognizing projection. It is late evening. The lights are low. The body is tired, but the mind is alert in a sharp, uneasy way. Perhaps you are thinking about someone specific, a person whose presence confuses you, whose words feel charged, whose reactions seem personal, even when you tell yourself they should not be. You replay an interaction, again and again. The mind asks, why are they like this? What do they really think of me? What did I do wrong? The chest tightens slightly. The breath catches. The image of the other person grows heavier with every thought. This is where the Buddha introduced a quiet and liberating insight. Clear seeing. Not seeing others as we fear they are. Not seeing ourselves as we fear we are. But seeing what is actually happening. Most of the time, we are not responding to the present moment. We are responding to projection. Projection is when the mind places old fears, hopes, and wounds onto a person or situation in front of us. We believe we are seeing clearly, but we are looking through memory. The Buddha taught that the mind colors perception constantly, especially when there is attachment or fear. Clear seeing begins when we notice this coloring. Let me tell you about Nikhil. Nikhil was thoughtful, sensitive, and observant. He noticed shifts in tone quickly, changes in expression. At work, one colleague unsettled him deeply. The colleague was quiet, reserved, hard to read. Nikhil felt tense around him. He believed the colleague disliked him. Every neutral comment felt cold. Every silence felt judgmental. Nikhil's body reacted before his mind could question it. Tight shoulders, shallow breath. One day, after a meeting, Nikhil overheard the colleague speaking on the phone. His voice was strained, his words heavy. A parent was ill, sleep was scarce, life was overwhelming. Something cracked open in Nikhil. He realized how much he had added. The colleague had not been rejecting him. Nikhil had been projecting his own fear of disapproval onto silence. This realization was humbling and freeing. Clear seeing does not mean others never cause harm. It means we separate what is happening from what we are imagining. The Buddha taught that suffering increases when perception is mistaken for truth. We see through habit, through conditioning, through old stories. Clear seeing asks us to pause and ask, what am I actually seeing? And what am I adding? Now let us practice together. If you are lying down, allow the body to be supported fully. If you are sitting, let the weight of the body drop downward. Bring attention to the breath. Inhale gently, exhale slowly. Again. Now bring to mind someone who feels difficult or confusing, not the most painful, just someone who triggers uncertainty. Notice the image of them that arises, their face, their tone. Notice how the body responds. Tightness, guarding expectation. Now ask one quiet question. What do I actually know for certain about this person right now? Stay with the question for one breath. Notice what falls away. Most of what remains is assumption. On the next exhale, imagine setting those assumptions down. Like putting down a heavy bag. Silently offer this phrase. I see what is here, I release what I add. Again. I see what is here, I release what I add. Clear seeing creates space. In that space, reactions soften. Nikhil began practicing this whenever tension arose. When he felt judged, he asked, is this a fact or a fear? Often it was fear. Sometimes it was genuine feedback. But now, he could tell the difference. This discernment changed how he related. He stopped shrinking unnecessarily. He stopped defending prematurely. He began meeting people as they were, not as his mind imagined. In Indian spiritual language, this is jnana, wisdom that cuts through illusion. Illusion does not mean fantasy. It means misinterpretation. Clear seeing is not cold. It is compassionate. When you see clearly, you stop blaming others for feelings they did not cause. And you stop blaming yourself for projections that were never true. This teaching is especially important at night. The mind reviews the day, reconstructs conversations, projects, future conflict. Clear seeing allows you to say, this was said, this was done, and the rest is my mind filling gaps. As you lie here now, notice the breath, notice the body. If thoughts about others arise, see them as images, not facts. Let them pass. You do not need to solve relationships tonight. You only need to see what belongs to now. Clear seeing lightens the heart. In the next teaching, we will arrive at a critical point, letting go of control. A teaching about unclenching effort and allowing life to move without constant management. Before we continue, pause here for a moment. Feel the simplicity of this breath. Nothing to project, nothing to interpret, just presence. The 10th teaching, letting go of control. It is late at night. The house is still. Most of the world has already surrendered to sleep, but inside, something is still gripping. You may not even know what it is at first. Just a subtle tension, a sense that something must be held together. The mind says, I should figure this out. I cannot relax yet. If I let go, something will fall apart. The body reflects this immediately. Hands slightly clenched, jaw firm, breath controlled, not free. This is the habit of control. The Buddha understood this deeply. He saw that much of human suffering comes not from what happens, but from the mind's insistence on managing life moment by moment, trying to control outcomes, trying to control how others feel, trying to control the future. Control feels like safety, but it creates exhaustion. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means recognizing where effort is no longer wise. The Buddha taught that clinging is the root of suffering. Clinging to outcomes, clinging to identity, clinging to certainty. When clinging loosens, peace appears naturally. Let me tell you about Prakash. Prakash was responsible, highly capable. Others depended on him. He planned carefully, anticipated problems, solved issues before they arose. From the outside, he seemed calm. Inside, he was always bracing. Even at night, his mind stayed alert. What if this goes wrong? What if I miss something? What if I fail someone? Sleep came lightly, left early. One evening, after a long stretch of exhaustion, Prakash sat alone on his balcony. The city lights shimmered below. Life continued without his input. Cars moved. People laughed somewhere. A breeze passed through. Nothing collapsed. This simple observation shook him. Later, he encountered the Buddha's teaching on letting go. The teacher said quietly, "You are not holding life together. Life is holding itself." Something softened in Prakash. He began noticing how often he clenched without need, hands tightening when thinking, breath held while planning. He practiced one small thing, unclenching. Whenever he noticed tension, he opened his hands, literally, and with the hands, something inside released. Now let us practice together. If you are lying down, allow the body to spread into the bed. If you are sitting, let the weight of the body drop downward. Notice the hands. Are they holding anything? Even the air. Let them rest open. Bring attention to the breath. Do not force it. Now begin to lengthen the exhale. Let the exhale be longer than the inhale. Inhale gently. Exhale slowly. Again. With each exhale, imagine the hands unclenching, fingers loosening, palms opening. This is not symbolic only. The body learns safety through gesture. Now bring to mind something you have been trying to control. An outcome, a person, a situation. Notice the effort. Where does it live in the body? Chest, shoulders, belly? Ask one quiet question. What happens if I loosen my grip just for this breath? Stay with the question. On the exhale, imagine placing this concern down. Not forever, just for now. Silently offer this phrase. I release what is not mine to carry. Again. I release what is not mine to carry. Letting go is not irresponsible. It is discerning. In Indian spiritual understanding, this is surrender to dharma, not fate, not passivity, but trust in a larger order than personal control. Prakash noticed something remarkable over time. When he stopped gripping so tightly, he became more effective, clearer, kinder, because his energy was no longer leaking into worry. The Buddha did not teach control of life. He taught alignment with life. When effort aligns with reality, it feels light. When effort fights reality, it feels heavy. At night, control is especially unnecessary. Nothing essential can be solved at this hour. The body heals in rest. The mind integrates in stillness. As you lie here now, notice the breath continuing without instruction. Notice the heart beating without command. Life knows how to live. You do not need to supervise it tonight. Let the hands rest open. Let the jaw soften. Let the breath flow. This is letting go. Not dramatic, not final, just gentle release. The 11th teaching. Boundaries without guilt. It is morning, but the body already feels tired. Not from lack of sleep alone. From carrying too much that does not belong to you. Perhaps your phone lights up early. A request. A question that is really a demand. a familiar pull on your attention. Before you even open the message, the body knows. The chest tightens, the stomach sinks. A quiet voice inside says, "I do not have space for this." And another voice answers immediately, "If I do not help, I will disappoint. If I say no, I will feel guilty." This is where many people live, caught between exhaustion and guilt. The Buddha did not teach boundaryless compassion. He taught wise compassion. Boundaries are not walls. They are clarity. A boundary simply says, "This is where I end." And you begin without boundaries. Kindness becomes resentment in slow motion. Let me tell you about Pooja. Pooja was caring and dependable. Her family relied on her. Her colleagues leaned on her. She rarely said no. And when she did, she explained and apologized and felt terrible. At night, her body felt heavy, her mind restless. She believed guilt was the price of being loving. One day, after a long period of burnout, she attended a quiet talk. The teacher said something that startled her. Guilt is not proof of compassion. It is often a sign of unclear boundaries. This stayed with Pooja. She began observing guilt closely. She noticed that guilt arose even when she was doing nothing wrong. It appeared simply because she chose herself. The Buddha taught that wholesome action is action that does not harm, not harming others, and not harming yourself. Pooja realized she had been harming herself politely for years. Boundaries without guilt begin with understanding this. Guilt is a feeling, not a moral authority. It comes from conditioning, from old beliefs about worth and duty. It does not mean you are doing something wrong. Now let us practice together. If you are lying down, feel the body supported. If you are sitting, let the spine be upright and soft. Bring attention to the breath. Inhale gently, exhale slowly. Again. Now bring to mind one situation where you feel obligated, even though the body resists. Notice where guilt appears. Chest, throat, stomach. Do not judge it. Ask one quiet question. If I remove guilt from this situation, what remains? Stay with the question for one breath. Often what remains is clarity. On the exhale, imagine standing gently in your own space, not pushing anyone away, not collapsing inward. Silently offer this phrase, "I can be kind and still say no." Again, "I can be kind and still say no." Boundaries spoken calmly teach others how to treat you. Boundaries held quietly teach you how to respect yourself. Pooja began practicing simple boundaries. Short sentences, no explanations. "This does not work for me. I'm not available for this." Her guilt flared and then faded. Each time she did not obey guilt, it lost power. She slept better. She felt clearer. This is boundaries without guilt. In the next teaching, we will explore compassion for difficult people without closeness. The 12th teaching, compassion for difficult people without closeness. It is evening again. The day has slowed, but certain people still linger in the mind. Not because you want them there, but because something about them remains unresolved. A person who drains you, someone whose presence tightens the body, someone you care about, yet cannot be close to without pain. When you think of them, the chest tightens slightly, the breath changes. A mix of concern, irritation, guilt, and obligation arises. The mind asks a familiar question. If I step back, am I being unkind? This question carries a deep confusion. Many people believe compassion requires closeness, that to be loving, you must stay engaged, available, exposed. The Buddha taught otherwise. He taught compassion rooted in wisdom. Compassion does not require proximity. It requires clarity of heart. You can wish someone well without giving them access to your inner life. You can hold goodwill without offering yourself as a place for harm to land. This is one of the most mature teachings on the path. Let me tell you about Sanjay. Sanjay loved his elder brother deeply. and every interaction left him exhausted. The brother criticized constantly, questioned Sanjay's choices, turned concern into control. Sanjay tried everything, explaining, appeasing, creating distance. Nothing felt right. When he pulled away, guilt crushed him. When he stayed close, resentment grew. One day, during a quiet walk near a temple, Sanjay spoke to an old caretaker. He shared his confusion. The caretaker listened patiently, then said softly, "You are confusing love with closeness." This simple sentence changed everything. Later, Sanjay encountered the Buddhas, teaching on compassion with wisdom. The Buddha never taught unlimited access. He taught discernment. He offered teachings freely, and he walked away when minds were not ready. This was not lack of compassion, it was respect for reality. Sanjay began practicing compassion at a distance. He stopped trying to be understood, stopped explaining his boundaries. When harsh words came, he did not absorb them. He wished his brother peace silently, and he limited contact. Something softened inside him. He was no longer at war with himself. This is compassionate distance, not rejection, not punishment, just wisdom saying, "Closeness here creates harm. Now let us practice together." If you are lying down, let the body be supported fully. If you are sitting, feel the weight of the body grounding downward. Bring attention to the breath. Inhale gently, exhale slowly. Again. Now bring to mind someone difficult, not the most painful, just someone who requires distance. Notice the body's response. Tightness, guarding. Acknowledge it gently. Now, without moving closer, offer one simple wish. May you be free from the suffering that causes harm. That is all. You are not fixing them. You are not engaging further. Just offering goodwill from a safe distance. Now, return attention to yourself. Notice your own body. Offer yourself this phrase: "I am allowed to protect my peace." Again, "I am allowed to protect my peace." The Buddha taught that compassion without wisdom becomes self-harm. Wisdom without compassion becomes cold. The path holds both. In Indian spiritual language, this is balance of heart and discernment. You are not required to sacrifice your nervous system to prove goodness. As this teaching settles, notice the relief in the body, the permission. You can care and still step back. In the next and final teaching, we will arrive at rest itself, resting in peace. For now, let the body soften with this truth. Conclusion: resting into what is already here. Tonight, you have walked through many teachings, not as ideas to remember, but as experiences to feel in the body. You have seen how suffering softens when you stop taking everything personally, how kindness becomes strong when it includes yourself, how the breath brings you home. You have learned the power of pausing, of choosing action that does not betray you, of staying steady when life moves like weather. You have felt the relief of laying down the second arrow, the quiet protection of silence, the clarity that comes from seeing without projection, and you have touched surrender, not as defeat, but as trust. This is the path of Dharma as lived, not spoken. Nothing here asks you to be perfect. Nothing demands constant awareness. You will forget, you will react, you will grip again. That is human. The path is not about never tightening. It is about remembering how to soften. As you rest now, let the body settle into the surface beneath you. Feel the weight of your legs, the support under your back, the quiet rhythm of the breath continuing on its own. Life is carrying itself. You are allowed to rest inside it. You do not need to resolve every relationship tonight. You do not need to understand every lesson. Dharma does not rush. It unfolds in its own time. Take one slow breath. Let the shoulders drop. Let the jaw loosen. If the mind wanders, let it wander. If thoughts come, let them pass. Sleep is not something to achieve. It is something to allow. May you rest without effort. May you release what is not yours to hold. May peace arrive quietly, like night settling over a familiar home. Nothing more is needed now.